Hey, I'm Alex Gay, and this is the Bottoming Podcast. All right, today we're going to be talking about all kinds of things bottoming. I don't even know. It's episode 1, so we're just going to find out how this goes. And hopefully in future episodes, you can join us live and actually ask your questions. But for now, we're going to go over some questions, some common questions that I get frequently from people that want to bottom and have a little bit more fun. So let's do it. Also, this morning, before we hit record, I was like laying in bed, touching myself as one does, browsing the apps, like looking for some fun this morning and couldn't find any. So I ended up finally just deciding, screw this, take a shower, get ready. And one tip that a friend gave me that I really need to do more of, and I think that would have been helpful this morning, is if I had actually like set a timer and limited myself to a specific amount of time, and then I'm done cruising. Because otherwise, I don't know about you, but like with my ADHD, I will just get carried away and be on there for 20, 30 hours. I need to actually live my life. So we might be doing that next time so that I'm not late for recording. All right, so let's dive into some fun questions, shall we? So the first one is the bottom that we're told to be different from the bottom that we likely are? I think yes, because I think a lot of gay culture says that if you like to bottom, then you are a bottom. You're not allowed to be verse. If you're effeminate at all, then you have to be like an absolute total 100% bottom. I've had even other bottoms tell me that they didn't believe me when I told them I was verse. And I think that's so silly. Also, I don't know why more people don't just love being verse, because to me, I love being able to get things in all the holes and to put things in all the holes because, I don't know, I'm gay. Let's do whatever we want, right? Like, why do we need to, I think, what is a version of heterosexual norms and then bring them over into gay culture? To me, that's what it is when people are like, you have to be a 100% bottom. And if you are a bottom, then you're expected to be submissive. And I think there are so many very fun power bottoms that I love to play with because I lean a little bit more submissive in bed. I can put on my dom daddy or my dom mommy. My dom is actually a bit more feminine, let's be honest. She likes to wear stilettos and like tight, revealing black leather and lace. So when I'm more dominant, I'm often more in my feminine energy. Otherwise, if I'm more submissive, which is a little bit more my default in bed, then I'm more in my like boyish energy. I really think that we ought to have fun playing with these different gender expressions, different positions, and just stop worrying about trying to be the right kind of bottom. All right, the next question is it really bottoms versus tops? I think that's such a shallow way of looking at it. Again, I think we're trying to project heteronormativity onto queer sex. And to me, we're also that question, we're missing the two other major categories. We've got verse and we've got sides. And side is actually something that is a newer label. I wish I remembered the name of the I think he was a psychologist who coined that term. But basically, side is anyone that doesn't really enjoy penetration, but enjoys other sexual activities. So it might be like face sitting, making out and jerking each other off. It could be like bait bros, anything like that is a very valid expression of sex and sexuality. And so whenever anyone asks me, are you a bottom or a top? I'm like, girl, you didn't even ask me a whole question. All right. Question 3, when it comes to pleasure, what do we really owe one another? That is a great question. I think the word owe is really standing out to me here because often in like therapy talk worlds, I hear people talk about, you don't owe them anything. And I think that we're in a dangerous space as a society if we're leaning into all or nothing with what we owe each other. I do think that as fellow humans, we do owe each other respect and decency and kindness, but we also don't owe it to someone to like sacrifice ourselves on behalf of their wants or desires. And that doesn't change whether it's a stranger or someone you know well. Like, you also don't owe your spouse sex anytime they want, however they want it. That's a way that marital happens, is when we think that we don't still have autonomy over our bodies and that consent isn't important. So what do we really owe each other when it comes to pleasure? I think we owe each other kindness and respect. I can't stand it when people are like shaming of each other's kinks. You don't have to be into the same thing, but you don't need to shame somebody else for what they're into. Above all, we really, really owe it to ourselves to be honest about what we're into. And you might not know, like maybe there's something that you've never tried before, you're willing to try it. And then if you don't like it, then be honest. You don't need to fake it in order to please the other person. And you don't need to keep going along with something that you don't want to do. All right, question 4. Are we still in the closet about some things? I think all of us are still in the closet about a few things, probably. There are kinks of mine that I still don't feel comfortable talking about publicly. I wish I did. I think there's a future version of me that will be totally fine. And it seems really silly to me, but there are some kinks that I enjoy that are like far out there, or that a lot of people don't like and think are gross. You're probably making guesses right now, and you might be right. But I also don't think that we need to share every single thing with every single person. One of the things that's helped me be able to show up and not get burnt out with the online life that I live is by having an intentional boundary between what is just for my personal life and what is for the internet. For example, I'm in a relationship and I almost never talk about that online. And my partner and I made this decision because he wants to remain anonymous. And also for me, it's a really, even though it probably would give good content because I talk about relationships and sex. So like talking about our stuff could be nice. On the other hand, it's also really nice to have something that's reserved for me that allows me to feel like, okay, there's no pressure here for this to be seen or known by anyone else. This gets to be between us. And then I have plenty of sexual encounters with other people because we are non-monogamous. And those things get to be things that I take messages from and share with other people and share with the internet. If we are just laying everything out there for everyone all the time, it leaves us really empty, and it can be a recipe for a disastrous mental health crisis situation. So I don't recommend that you just willy-nilly share everything with everybody all of the time. It's okay to keep things to yourself or to just a few select close people in your life. Also, don't take that too far. Know that by being vulnerable, by being open, and by sharing things with others, you create deeper connection with them. You increase your sense of courage and confidence. And I don't know, it's just a lot more fun because you're also helping other people feel a lot better about themselves too when you're not hiding things. All right, next question. When is a date really a date? Oof, that is a good question. Here's why I think this question is important, because a lot of the people that I work with in my coaching practice are neurodivergent. And a lot of us have a hard time picking up on people's unspoken cues. And so a lot of people will end up being on what one person thinks is a date and the other person doesn't think is a date because neither of them labeled what this thing is. One of them just was going off of the fact that they talked about let's go to lunch, and the other is like, we're like going out. So I'm kind of split here, and I think that people are probably going to hate this answer because I haven't created like a clear rule here, but I think one, it's okay for people to have different interpretations of what the same event is. One, it's okay that one person is considering this like a date and the other person is like, oh, I'm just casually going to lunch. The problem comes in when we start having different expectations for what that means. So I think if you are thinking that something's a date, but that hasn't been explicitly stated, then ask and verify, especially if that goes along with more expectations for you. If you expect that that person is going to hang out with you more frequently or going to spend more time with you, then or that you're going to end that date with sex or at least a good kiss, I would clarify it, ask questions and ask, hey, I just wanted to check. Cool either way, but is this a date? Because I would love this to be a date if you're down for that. Something like that could work. And similarly, on the other side, if you think that the other person is thinking that it's a date and you're not feeling that vibe, it's best to speak up as soon as possible, even though that can be very uncomfortable. Honesty is so much better. And trust me, like, think about if you were in the other person's shoes. You would have wanted the other person to speak up, right? It's okay. Hurt feelings hurt earlier on is way better than hurt feelings after tons of time has been invested. Next question. At what point do you stop being a friend and become someone's partner? That is a really good question. Also, I feel like there's a point in partnership where you are really good friends. I definitely feel that way with my partner. Like, we are really good friends, but also our relationship is different than friends. Like, he does shit that drives me fucking nuts all the time, and I do the same to him. But like, I don't really care, you know? Like, I'm gonna be with him either way, and we're building a life together. Whereas with a friend to me is somebody that is in my life for a certain amount of time. I don't know how long. It could be for the next week. It could be for the next year. It could be until one of us dies. We don't know. And the same thing with a partner. But to me, there's a little bit of a hierarchy difference between a partner and a friend. A friend, I may not make big life decisions like career changes or where I'm going to live if I'm planning on moving, or I don't know, those are the main things that are coming to my mind right away. But basically, I'm not going to make those decisions with a friend necessarily. I might seek their input or something, but you know, when all is said and done, I'm not going to change the course of my life in order to make sure that I have close proximity to that friend. I probably won't anyway. I'm sure there are rare circumstances in which I might. But with a partner, to me, a partner is somebody that I'm building a life with. And so physical proximity is really important to me with a partnership, whereas a friend, I can have long distance. And so with a partner, you know, I'm going to make those big life decisions with them. I'm not asking their permission, like for a career change, for example, but there might be a situation in which like that career change might require a move. And then we have to decide together, hey, what do we want to do with this? Do we want to move together? Do we want to change our relationship? And also, the more that I'm talking this through and thinking out loud, they are just like a higher version of a friend. So I think you really have to pick what for you makes the difference between a friend and a partner. Because I also have clients who live long distance from their partners, but live close to their friends. So it's not the same rules for everyone. These are just the things that I like to differentiate between a partner and a friend. I would just say, like, discussing that label. And again, it's okay that different people have different interpretations of where you're at in the relationship at different times. That's going to happen. Not everyone has to be fully 100% in sync at the same time. It's just, are the expectations that we have for where a relationship is, are those spoken? And are we also like okay with how the other person is willing and ready to show up for us? Okay, I think we beat that one to death. How do you really know when things are a good match? This is a wonderful question. And because of the people that I work with and my own experience, I think like my perspective on this may be different than somebody else's, but I think it often doesn't feel like a great match at first because it doesn't feel exciting. A great match often feels kind of boring, but safe. It feels connected, but not thrilling, not exciting, not like a chase. It feels happy. It feels reliable. It feels trusting. It feels like we can be fully honest and fully ourselves together. And like, even if we share our most intimate desires and the other person's not into it, still going to totally 100% accept us for who we are. I think there's also practical things that make a good match. Like, I hate cooking and I really wanted somebody who could cook, and my man is a wonderful cook. I had written that down in a journal ahead of time. It was like my number one thing that I wanted to find. I would honestly recommend that if you are single and you're looking for a partner, write down like your partner dream list. What does the dream list partner have? Go wild on it. Don't hold yourself back out of fear of like, this is unrealistic, because you're right. It is unrealistic to find the person that you write down. That person probably doesn't exist, or maybe they do exist somewhere in some other country or planet. Who knows? But you can find most of those things in one person. And if you have spent the time getting intentionally clear, then it's going to be a lot easier to recognize that when you meet them. And that helps with the feelings of like, oh my God, this is boring. Nothing's happening. You can remind yourself, but this is what I truly desire. And the other stuff was just toxic relationship shit from like my upbringing or past relationships. And I'm just, chasing red flags because they're more exciting when really like these green flags are here. When my partner and I met, things were going very smoothly at the beginning. And I think it was like 3 weeks after we met that I was really falling for him and really feeling like very hopeful about the future of our relationship. I was freaking out though because it was so calm and stable. He didn't seem like he was going to run away. I don't know. He wasn't like toxic in any way. And I was really confused by it. And I was like, why haven't we been on the edge of breaking up yet? This is confusing. And so I intentionally listened to my breakup playlist just to emotionally get to like feel those feelings that I was familiar with. And then after listening to that playlist in the car ride, I went, okay, let's get back to accepting what's good in this relationship and what's going well. And here we are 4 years later. All right, we've got a juicy, saucy Reddit post for you all about the first time someone bottomed. So Colin found this for me. I haven't read it yet. Let's read and react to this in real time, shall we? Okay, so this is from the Reddit thread Ask Gay Bros. The username is like unpronounceable, so it's like a bunch of random numbers and letters. So, okay. How did your first bottoming go and how long did it take to get used to it? I already know this is going to be juicy. I graduated high school and met this hot guy on an app. He was fine as hell and bragged about packing some serious meat. So naturally, I was eager to meet him and headed over to his place, ready to blow his mind with my mouth. I love the confidence here of someone that's like freshly out of high school being like, I've got a magic mouth. I'm 18 and I am going to be the best he's ever. That's wild. Good for him. I don't think that I had that confidence. I don't know. What did I? I think I was 19 and or maybe I was 18. I don't know. I was either late 18 or early 19. And I met up with my trainer. We met up in his hotel and I just like sat on it. I think I was so excited and also I had just seen it in porn. And so I just figured, like, let's go. I didn't know anything about what type of lube to use. I didn't know anything about stretching or warming up. I definitely didn't know about douching. And somehow there was no, it went pretty well, but I don't know. Maybe I did have similar confidence. I think when you don't know, when you've never done it before, there is maybe a tendency to just think, well, that looks easy. I could do that. Okay. Anyway, let's continue with Korvrov's story here. Okay. All right. But he was all about, okay. So I was going to blow his mind with my mouth, but he was all about backdoor action. No foreplay, no warning. Ooh. I don't like that. I had no experience with the whole anal thing, but he wanted to just go for it. It was painful as hell. And when I couldn't take it and had to tap out, he got nasty and said mean words to me. So I had to leave with a broken heart. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. That's normal. Like to not be ready. You needed a tender top. This is so many people's story too, though. Like there are some nasty tops out there. If someone's rude to you and they're a top, like no. The rough tops are for like us experienced sluts. And even then, they're not that great. Like they really, if they don't know how to warm you up and ramp you up to rough, if they just start rough, they're not some kind of amazing top. No, they're just bad at it. And they really need to just have sex with a doll or their hand. They're not ready for actual sex with other human beings or any living creature. That sounded like I was condoning something that I'm not. Yeah, they're not ready for sex if they just immediately are rough out of the gate. That's just that no one's body works that way, not even an experienced slut like mine. Like it needs warming up. Your asshole the outer butthole, you have conscious control over that. And you know that because you can like squeeze it to pucker it and like push it out. But then up past that, the smooth muscle tissue in your rectum, that is subconscious. And so what actually helps to loosen that is not you consciously being like, loosen, loosen, loosen. It's actually a subconscious sense of safety and comfort. And so even if you are turned on and ready to go consciously, if there is subconscious doubt about safety or like whether that person's going to listen to you, whether or not you have control over the situation, like then it is going to tighten up. And that can be kind of frustrating as the person who's bottoming, because you're like, ow, when I tighten, it hurts worse, but he's also not slowing down. So now my subconscious mind is tightening even more, and now it hurts even more. And it's a recipe for disaster. Yeah. Professional tops, good tops, know how to slowly warm you up so that you can go for a marathon, not just this. But good for this guy for tapping out. Some people might have just pushed through and gotten permanently injured. Okay, so he left with a broken heart. I gave anal a shot a few more times over the years. Every time, too much pain, no pleasure. That's really common too. When you have an initial foundational experience, it's really negative. Remember, if it's subconscious, now your subconscious has one experience to go off of and it went bad. So it's much more likely that every experience after that is going to go bad. Even if you have a tender top, they're going to need to listen to your body and go extra, extra slow. And you might have to meet up with them a few times before you're actually ready for any kind of anal penetration. And that's okay. And that's also why I do what I do. If you want somebody that's like safe to experience these things with and to understand how to like understand your mind and your body, that's what I'm for, baby. Okay, then everything changed when I met this older guy. Yep, usually is an older guy that has a little more experience. Okay, a real daddy type who knew exactly what he was doing. He started slow, got me all relaxed, and prepped with some rimming. Yes, when he went for it, he was gentle, easing in bit by bit. Honestly, it felt freaking weird. Like I was gonna poop or pee any second, even though I was empty. That's a really common thing too. When we have to pee, our bladder starts putting pressure like on the prostate area. And so when you're getting pressure on your prostate, your nerves are sending the same pressure signal to your brain. Every time I've ever encountered those nerves feeling pressure, it means I have to pee, but you don't. And also, it's really hard to pee while you have something pressing on your prostate, even if you were trying. But yeah, like it's just your brain interpreting those signals, and it just takes practice to start associating that sensation while bottoming with sex and pleasure and not with needing to pee or poop. Okay, he felt like he was going to poop or pee any second, even though I was empty. But he, the daddy, told me it's normal, that it's all part of the thrill. Amen. By the end of it, he said I'd never forget that night, and damn, he was right. Oh, I'm so happy. I thought I wasn't made for this anal game, but the mix of pain and pleasure was addictively intense. I got hooked, kept at it, and soon it was like second nature to me. It is. I didn't think I was going to be able to take a fist. Now I'm gearing up to take my first one next week. But I've been practicing a lot. So fast forward a year, I see Mr. Rough start in the app again. I message him and he didn't even remember me. But this time around, I handled him perfectly. Showed him just how much I've learned. He loved it. Kept coming back for more of my ass. But still, no strings attached. Such an asshole. Colin, that was such a great article. I love that. We need more like this. Yeah, I think another really good lesson from that is when people show you who they are, trust them. He was an asshole the very first time. I would assume that that person is probably never, ever, ever going to be different in bed from that. Like they might adjust somewhat, but they're probably not going to ever be a compassionate or kind or sentimental person. It doesn't seem like that's in their nature. Is it possible? Sure, anything's possible. But unless they reach out to you and are apologetic about what happened and they're like, hey, I know that first time I didn't handle well, I would like to show you that I can do differently, then I might give that person a chance. But yeah, honey, it would have been shocking if he had been any different, especially since he didn't even remember. Hello, he hasn't changed. He's right back at the beginning. All right, that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for joining. If you want to send me your questions, reach out to me on Instagram, HeyAlexGay, or send me an email, alex@heyalexgay.com. You can send me any question. It doesn't have to be just about bottoming, and I would love to respond to you. I'll also ask you if you want it included in the show or not, and whether or not you want to be anonymous, because consent is sexy.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
That's it. Do you feel how tight that is?
Mm-hmm.